Welcome back to Moody Talk Sports. I have my NFL picks for tomorrow. That'll be November 2nd, week 9. So some pretty decent games. Not a lot, but we've got a couple of them I'm really intrigued by. We're going to pick the point spreads today as always. Just got done picking the college for Saturday, so that's great too. All right, let's start with Atlanta going into New England. This one's easy for me. It's really easy. New England minus 4.5. 1, they're at home. 2, the temperature's going to be in the 40s, 50s. Atlanta is a dome Southern team. Atlanta doesn't have a really great offense right now. Outside of Bijan Robinson, they can't move the ball. Their defense is solid. I mean, it's average to good. It's playing pretty decently. It's caused them to win some games. But right now, going into New England in this type of weather, I think this could be a blowout. I really do. Carolina going into Green Bay. I'm going to take Carolina plus 13.5. That's so many points for an NFL game. Last week, they got blown out, but Bryce Young wasn't playing. This week, he's back. I think the offense still does fine. I think the defense is solid. I think Green Bay could win by 10, but 13.5 is just so many points for an NFL game. I can't lay those. I just can't do it. Denver going into Houston. I'm taking Denver plus 1.5. Denver's won like 4 or 5 games in a row. It doesn't seem like they can lose. I mean, let's just be real. I mean, even when they're down 33 points in the fourth quarter or whatever, they can still come back and win. And so Denver's found their groove. They've, found the system that Sean Payton wants them to play. They're executing it really well. And so at this point, I have to think that they shouldn't even be the underdog. I mean, Texans have not looked that good this year. I know the last couple games they found some stride, but found some stride ain't nothing to compare to what Denver's been doing over the last few weeks. Los Angeles Chargers going into Tennessee Titans. I'm taking Los Angeles minus 9.5. I know 9.5 is a lot, but this seems like a blowout. The Titans just don't look good. They fired their head coach. Cam Ward needs a lot of TLC. He needs a lot of coaching. He just does. So I just don't see it. I think Los Angeles is too good of a team. I think they're going to blow them out. Chicago going into Cincinnati. This was a game I went back and forth on. I really did, back and forth. But I think I'm going to take Cincinnati plus the 2.5 because they are at home. This feels like a game that could kind of be a little bit of a shootout. Not a huge shootout, but a little bit of one, like a 30-24 or something like that. But I think more than likely with the way Jamar Chase has been playing, he's been playing out of his mind, especially since Flacco's been there. That's helped too. I'm going to go ahead and take Cincinnati. I think that they come out on top there. Indianapolis going into Pittsburgh. Normally on a previous year, I would say, Indianapolis going into Pittsburgh, facing that tough Tomlin defense. I don't know. But this year, that tough Tomlin defense is one of the worst in the league. I don't get it. I really don't. I don't get it. I've talked about it for weeks now. If Pittsburgh could just figure out the defense a little, I think they'd be a really big contender. But they can't. It's historically for Pittsburgh bad on defense right now. So, no, I unfortunately I got to take Indianapolis. I think Indianapolis still puts up another 30-plus points. I just do. San Francisco minus 2.5 over the New York Giants without Scatterbo. I just don't know. This team looks so bad. They look. Don't get me wrong. They've improved, which is great. But San Francisco plays solid ball. They're going in only minus 2.5. I think they'll figure it out. I think San Francisco gets the win here. Minnesota going into Detroit. Now, this is, one of those tough divisional games. I can't recall the last time I gave up 8.5 points in a divisional game. But I don't have a choice because the Vikings just look like dog water. I don't know how else to describe it. Their offense, Carson Wentz, McCarthy, a guy from the hot dog stand. I think you're going to get the same result either way right now. No offense to those guys, but it just looks bad. And so for me personally, I think Detroit's going to rout them. And so I think it's going to be 14 to 21 point game. Especially since Detroit's also coming off that bye. So I think they've had time to kind of recoup. And not looking good. New Orleans Saints going into the Los Angeles Rams. This is a dome game. Playing at SoFi isn't really like a hard thing to do because the fans, it's just not like Green Bay or Seattle or anything like that. It's just nothing against it. But 14.5 points. I know New Orleans is starting a new quarterback, but what people don't realize is that New Orleans has a solid defense. The defense isn't their issue. Their defense is what's kept them in games. But their offense right now, it's kind of a tire fire. But I could see New Orleans putting up 10, and I could see the Rams putting up 24. But I think that half point could make a difference, so I got to take the points there. Jacksonville Jaguars going into the Raiders. Listen, 2.5 points. That's all I got to lay for Jacksonville. Have they watched the Raiders play this year? I mean, they can't defend. They can't move the ball. It looks so hard for them. Getting 2 or 3 yards looks so hard for them. I can't fathom it. I can't fathom Jacksonville not putting up a decent game. Jacksonville, coming off a couple rough ones, coming off a bye week. I think Jacksonville gets back on track here. Kansas City going into Buffalo. I've been saying it for weeks. I'm not convinced how good Buffalo is. And right now, going into this week, this is the game of the week. This is Buffalo's chance to say, hey, this is how good we are. Because so far through this season, I'm not impressed. They're beating a lot of tomato cans. They're barely beating a lot of tomato cans. I know last week they beat Carolina, but Andy Dalton was in. It was backup quarterback situation. That doesn't tell me anything. This is the game that proves it. Go out there, play well, prove to the world what kind of team you are. If you're Kansas City, you just keep on doing what you've been doing, and that's why I'm taking Kansas City -1.5. But this is Buffalo's chance. You're going to have home field advantage. There's no excuses. If Kansas City beats you here, you're done for the season. You have no chance of a Super Bowl. Just my opinion. Seattle Seahawks going into Washington Commanders. This is the Sunday night game. Seattle -3. Washington hasn't looked that good. They've been struggling with injuries up and down. It's been a little bit of Mariota. It's been a little bit of Jaden Daniels. They're a solid team overall, but I think that they're still trying to figure it out because they've had so many injuries and they're having to change how they play. Seattle's coming off a bye, and Seattle, frankly, just looks great. I mean, they really do. They know how to nickel and dime you. They know how to play defense. They know how to play offense. They have a top, number 1 wide receiver in the league that I've had, a top 10 quarterback. I think this is easily a touchdown or more, so 3 points is nothing. That is my picks for the NFL Sunday. I'll see you guys next week for our top 10s, our top 10 NFL teams, college team, the men among the boys, top 10 wide receivers, all that good stuff we do. I will see you then. Have a great weekend. Remember to enjoy football, enjoy your family, and enjoy your friends. Bye-bye.